those who are familiar and those who are comfortable with Python as a coding environment can opt for Python course, and those who are comfortable with R can opt for R courses. So again, you will get an introduction to how you are going to access big data in R environment, and basic understanding of what is the environment in R studio or R coding environment, and what are the different tools and different operators and different symbols that we need to understand from R. From a coding point of view, it is a little bit easier to understand a Python code than to understand an R code, but a tremendous support and excellent visualization platforms for R actually makes R one of the R and Python together, right? But R slightly more used platform for bioinformatics data analysis, but Python is also catching up in that aspect. So we will again start with loading data into R and how you can load the data, visualize the data, for example, study the structures of the data, summarize the data. So you can learn a lot about the data just by making or printing out first few lines of the data. So all of these will be covered in the first session. So in the second session, again, we are going to introduce to working with nucleotide or DNA sequences in R, in an aim for you to understand how to perform or how to use a comparative sequence comparison methods using R as a tool, so that you can generate an appreciation for how two strings or how two DNA sequences are compared, and what are we understanding by comparing two DNA sequences or multiple more than two DNA sequences, and etc. etc. And you will also have some introduction to visualization and exploratory analysis that will explore patterns in the data. Again, you can, for example, visualize the data in the form of heat map or in the form of compiled scatter plot, or in box plot, as we went through, and etc. etc. So you will again, this is advanced visualization in R, where you can not only employ basic R's functions to visualize the data, you can also use advanced visualization methods using dedicated packages like ggplot or ggfortify, so that the output that you are getting is of publication quality and is of research sharing worthy quality. So you will also be introduced again to different dimensionality reduction techniques and how we can use these principal component analysis and other dimensionality reduction techniques to explore more about the data, to understand patterns in the data, and to identify outliers that could actually hinder our downstream analysis, and etc. You can learn a lot from these exploratory analysis and pre-processing of the data. And then you can proceed further by employing the data into different statistical analysis. Again, you can perform factor regression analysis or differential gene expression analysis in the event of transcriptomics data to understand gene expression patterns that are different in, for example, in cells in an altered state or in a diseased state compared to cells that are in normal condition. And and we will again proceed to different machine learning methods like supervised and unsupervised analysis, and how you can prepare the data for these analysis methods, and what are the different parameters that one needs to keep in mind for employing these methods to biological data, because that actually changes. Biological data is slightly little bit different from a normal like economics data and other Internet of Things data that is used generally more used for machine learning analysis and artificial intelligence and data science methods analysis. And what are the key some parameter settings and assumptions that we need to understand and that we need to consider while employing these methods for big data or omics data. We can again compare, or we can evaluate the performances of unsupervised and supervised machine learning models using different evaluation metrics and comparative visualization on, of unsupervised analysis by comparing the patterns that it discovers with the patterns that is already with the different phenotypical characters that is associated with the data set. So this again, this program will conclude with a very detailed and example research project on applying, for example, R and different libraries of R for understanding metagenomics data analysis in the context of a role of high-fat diet on obesity. So you will be introduced to what is the data about and how did we get this structured data, and what is the intended analysis and what is the hypothesis, or what are we expecting to find, what is the aim of this analysis in this project. And then you will also be introduced to different packages and different data formats, and how to use these packages, and what are the considerations that you have to consider while performing this analysis, and in the end you can actually you will have a lot of discussions on what are the biological implications of these different analysis methods and the results that it produces, and how that relates to the actual finding of the paper, and generic understanding of how metagenomics analysis for such a question or such a biological research question works. And you will also be given access to a Colab notebook that will have a collection of all these codes to perform this analysis, and you can use these notebooks for the assignments that we are sharing, and for comparing different methodologies or comparing different data sets that we can take from publicly available resources for big data or big omics data. So that will conclude today's session, or my session on introducing you to the curriculum of getting started with bioinformatics in R and Python. And I'll be happy to take some questions if you have. And I take this opportunity to thank, and I look forward to meet all of you in the program. And I hand over the podium now to Sonalika. Back again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raghav, for the detailed explanation of each and every session that would be covered in the getting started with the bioinformatics in Python and R programs. And now, if there are any questions, please put them in the chat box so that we can take them. In the meantime, let me share my screen. Yes, you can put your question in the chat box. I can see RK has raised his hand. You want to ask something?
Hello there. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, just wanted to know that what is actually the the difference between the courses that you offer on the website, like the basic starter and those the paid ones, and like this program that we are going to attend. Can you just brief me about that?
Yes, definitely I can. All right, so you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So what is the difference in a program and the coursework that is up there? So what happens in the starter subscription with which the users get the access to the various courses that are up there on the portal? You get the access to the coursework, but what you not get is the mentor guidance, right? So you are supposed to go through these resources at your own pace all by yourself. And when you become a part of an online mentor guided training program, it's just that we have sessions where you can take your questions from the mentors, and we'll be having live sessions or recorded sessions where the mentor will be taking you through the code themselves and help you understand the code blocks and various things like working with your data set, processing, normalization, visualization, etc., and help you clarify your questions. That's it. And so this major difference actually plays a very big role, because when users work with their code block, they get stuck, and having a mentor guidance helps them proceed forward. Does that make sense? Is it clear to you? I don't know your name. Sorry, you have put a very short form. All right. And Monday is asking, how can we download the R and Python? Okay, so Mahindra, I'll just come back to your question. Monday, the first thing is that we'll be taking you definitely through how to install R and Python, and to understand that you can simply go through the very first lessons of R and Python courseworks. The first lesson is free and it will help you go through this lesson and install RStudio, right? Go to this first lesson. You have all the details on how you have to download the RStudio. And here it is, installation of R. This will help you. And for Python, you can work with Jupyter notebooks. It's not important that you really have to download it. And also to mention here, though Dr. Raghav has already mentioned, but still I'll mention it once again, that the best thing about the portal is that when you have to learn about the syntax of doing various things with your data set, it's that you can go through the code block here and then practice it here in the console itself. You need not download RStudio for the practice part, but yes, when you're working on a project and have your own data set, it's definitely easy to have the RStudio and then work with it. Okay, now coming to Mahindra's question. I would like Dr. Raghav to actually answer this question. Dr. Raghav, I'll put it in your personal chat. Mahindra is asking, how can I expect higher package and career growth after taking this particular program? Mahindra, Dr. Raghav, over to
you. You will learn coding first. If you have introduction to coding, and if you have the logic behind different analysis methods, and if you have understood these methods, then we will introduce you to different tools that are necessary to perform omics data analysis in R or Python. So first you will have developed a skill set for omics data analysis in R, let's say, and not only like loading the data and then just opening it up, but like performing the necessary analysis that will culminate into a research paper. And by discussing different example projects, we will make you understand the methodologies that are usually discussed when in bioinformatics projects and bioinformatics research papers, or that analyzes big omics data. So once you have acquired the necessary understanding to, for example, to understand different methods that are used in research papers, or for example, different codes that are actually available a lot in the support groups, and you can take those codes, understand different parts of the code, just like learning the code process, and then modify it and tweak it so that you can perform that analysis for your data set. So you have essentially started with exploring R as a tool to using R as an analysis methods and different methods to perform analysis for yourself. So that is a skill development, and this will actually help you in for example, gaining a domain knowledge in bioinformatics. Like once you have acquired this skill, and then after going through several research papers that does similar bioinformatics analysis, then you will be developing a deeper understanding in the domain itself, in how such analysis methods can help you ask relevant questions and answer relevant questions with these analysis methods. So okay, you have 8 years of experience in US healthcare, and how can I expect higher package in a career? You can add one more skill to your level, and then with your experience, in your introduction or getting familiarized to different data types, for example, you can apply or take these methods to for different analysis, for application of machine learning and other tools for healthcare data, so that you can get a deeper understanding of the patterns in the healthcare data. So application of machine learning and AI tools to healthcare data is really hot now, and how you can integrate these different health informatics data with big data bioinformatics is also very rapidly developing field. So I think yeah, you can gain a lot from these programs, and yeah, that will really be a good addition to your to your experience, and yeah, and to your general expanding of your horizons in the bioinformatics analysis, or the knowledge of bioinformatics data analysis, or big data, bioinformatics analysis. So I think I have answered part of your queries and convinced you that you will gain a lot more knowledge by getting through, or by signing up for this package. Any other queries?
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. And Mahindra is asking about placements after completion of the course and paid internship. Paid internships, yes, we can definitely guide you about the same after completing the coursework, but it's just like a week, 15 days long program. So definitely after like just a 15 days long program, what you can expect is maybe a job position with the required skill set that we can tell you about. So yes, after the program, we'll definitely have a session where we can discuss about various opportunities that you can leverage after getting some good hands-on with R or Python, whichever course or program you pick. Yes, so now it's time that I take you all through the registration part of this particular program. So here is the program page for getting started with R. And once you're here on the program page, if you scroll down, you'll be able to look at the schedule. So the schedule that Dr. Raghav discussed with us, it's mentioned here on which date, which particular topic would be covered, and what all coding lessons are you supposed to go through as a part of each and every session has been mentioned as well. And you can go through this particular page to get more insights about the schedule. And then if you scroll below, you'll be able to look at 3 different subscription levels: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And you can pick the level that works the best for you. And those who are in different countries and not US, maybe you can convert it to your own currency by multiplying with the conversion and then look at the amount, right? All right, so now what are these different subscription levels all about? In the beginner subscription level, you will get the access to such sessions like the way we just had today, a group session where the mentor, today the mentor did just explain about the program, what will we cover, what it is all about. Otherwise, we'll be having the topics covered for each and every session. In the intermediate subscription level, you will get an access to also the one-on-one mentor support along with these group sessions that we would be having. And in the advanced level, you will get some extra time to work with the mentor to frame a research question or have a research proposal in hand. It could help you if it's a requirement for you to submit a proposal, maybe for your higher studies or your next job position, right? Or you want to get started with a research project, but you're not sure what exactly you should be working on. So you will get this extra time to work on your research proposal and get started with the research project, right? So that is the difference, the main difference between these three different subscription levels. Pick the one that works the best for you. And once you have subscribed to this program page, after it, you will be able to find all the session recordings here on the page itself. Now, let's say you were not able to attend a particular session. So you can get back to this program page and just go to the recording and take your questions in the Slack channel. So each and every participant of the program gets a chance to become a part of our bioinformatics community, and we have specific assigned groups for each and every program in our Slack community. So you join the Slack group and you take your questions from the mentors in the group itself after watching the recording, and that will help you out. And also, before each and every session, you want the Zoom link, we'll mail you the Zoom link as well. And if our mail goes to your promotions box, let's say, first of all, don't forget it to just shift it to your main primary inbox. Otherwise, you can also look at the Zoom link here under each and every session as well. And along with this particular program, you will get the access to work on two of the main courseworks with R, and that is Bioinfo and R and BioML R. And talking about the Python program page now, Daniel, you can't find that page. Which page? This page? It's in the chat. If you click on it, you'll be able to open it. All right. Now the second program, getting started with bioinformatics in Python. So let me send the link of this page in the chat as well. I'll also mail the links of these pages to everyone, and also I'll tell you how you can go to these pages directly from the portal. Okay, so the same thing, if you scroll down, you'll be able to look at the session details in here, on which all dates, what exactly are we going to cover. The same thing that you'll be able to also find the Zoom links here before each and every session, and a recording after each and every session. And if you scroll down, the subscription levels have been defined here as well for the program. Pick the one that works best for you. I've already explained the difference between these subscription levels. If there is any doubt in it, please, you can put in the chat box and I'm here to answer your question. And in the Python program, you will get the access to Bioinfo in Python coursework and BioML using Python. All right. Now, just to tell you how you can go through these particular programs, if you lose track of the links, just go to learn.omicslogic.com portal and then click on the programs tab. Here you can simply type R, and this is the page that you want to go to and pick your subscription. All right. And after you take your subscription, you want to follow the recordings and also the resources. Again, the same thing, go to the programs, just type in R or Python, and here is your page. Okay. That was about